I had a video planned today that was all about Star Wars: The Republic and their new graphic update, but that's gonna have to wait because we have Everquest 3 news, a new breadcrumb. Actually, maybe a bit more like a full loaf of news on Everquest 3. And I'm kind of buzzing here with excitement, and I want to get into it, so let's talk about it. This is perhaps the most consequential breadcrumb we've gotten on Everquest 3 so far, and it comes courtesy of a new great video that just came out from content creator MinMax, which did a spotlight on Everquest by going to San Diego and meeting lead artist Kevin Liddy and touring the Darkpaw studios. It's a fantastic video for any fan of Everquest, full of all kinds of really cool behind the scene tidbits, and I highly recommend going and watching it in its entirety. I'll link it down below because I want them to get views on that video. But what I want to talk about with you was also picked up by Massively OP. It's a section that's just shy of 10 minutes into the MinMax video, where he boldly asks the head of the studio of Darkpaw Games, Jen Chan, which of course is Everquest and Everquest 2, Will there ever be an Everquest 3? Maybe? Is that possible? Can we get that? Again, that's not how they asked. They're much more professional than me. But basically the question was asked. And the answer, well, yes. To quote Jen Chan, the answer was, I hope so. We're working on a new Everquest game. It was reiterated a few more times that they're working on a new Everquest game, but it might not be called Everquest 3. For a very interesting reason. Jen Chan goes on to say that Everquest 2 was kind of a curse to Everquest 1 because they, as in Darkpaw, or at the time SOE, thought everyone would leave Everquest 1 to go play Everquest 2. Which, obviously they didn't. I did, but they did. And then I came back to Everquest 1. But most people didn't. But it's just a little while later we got words that actually gave me chills. Like, literally actually gave me chills. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a huge nerd. I mean, I am wearing an Everquest t-shirt, so I guess so. But they gave me chills. Jen Chan confirms that at least right now, they're looking toward an Everquest 1 reboot, rather than jumping hundreds of years into the future. Specifically from a lore perspective, Jen Chan points to some of the major characters like Fiona V, Trakanon, and Phippy, of course. They want to make the game modern visually and modern in gameplay and style, but wholly Everquest. However, this is all still in concept. They aren't even in pre-production yet, and they're just now bringing their team together. So this is years and years away at this point, and a lot can change and happen between then. And I'm sure many old school Everquest fans may hear modern gameplay and worry that this means something like Black Desert Online level of combat or something, some action combo combat. And I think that would be kind of like the antithesis of Everquest. So I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm hopeful that the whole idea of sticking to Everquest formula is something that they'll be looking at. And there's actually a little bit of more trail to that thought. There's a little bit more from some of the other things we've heard about Everquest 3 over the last year or so. We know from past confirmations we've gotten from panels and from some of the investor calls that Daybreak and EG7 are looking at the From Software model of game making. Not in that they were looking at some kind of Souls-like combat, but much more that each From Software game has been an iteration rather than a break of the mold of the type of game. Elden Ring's gameplay is in many ways the logical progression from the Dark Souls game. It's not particularly different, just advanced from there. And one of the other things to think about when you think about modern gameplay is the most recent MMOs to launch are actually, one of the biggest ones is a tab target combat MMO in Throne and Liberty. Ash of Creation is going to be a tab target MMO, and then Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is a tab target MMO. Monsters and Memories is a tab target. So tab target, I think, is still very much modern gameplay. I think in a lot of ways, action gameplay was tried by a lot of different MMOs, and it has its place in MMOs, but it doesn't mean that that is what would be replacing games going forward, as the vast majority of big MMOs are actually tab target combat. All of this plus that info from MinMax's video that they're currently leaning toward a reboot of EverQuest Run rather than an EverQuest 3 with an entirely new lore, entirely new characters makes honestly so much sense because it's so much cheaper. Like, it really is cheaper to consider rebooting an EverQuest 1 than creating this brand new game, an EverQuest Next. It makes a lot more sense to work on what they're doing. And if you think about timelines, by the time that this game potentially releases, EverQuest will be probably at least 30 years old, if not a bit longer than that. And this would provide a new way for new players to come into the game and see the same kind of places and locales and characters that really made EverQuest feel very, very special and very well thought out. You have decades of lore you can draw on. You don't have to spend all the time rewriting it. It just makes more sense. Of all the confirmations we've gotten so far, this has to be my favorite. And after feeling lackluster seeing no EverQuest mention in the Q3 financials of EG7, except the fact that EverQuest has been doing well for them, as well as Lord of the Rings Online has also been doing well for them financially, well, this makes me excited, looking forward to 2025 and beyond for EverQuest and the IP specifically. There's a lot more information in that video, including some information on like concurrent players, but I want you to go watch that video yourselves because it was a very good, very well done video. It is actually sponsored by Daybreak, and you can go see the link down below. Check out their video because it's really good. And they definitely deserve your views just for how much effort and work they went to go and get those interviews. Rather than me sitting here wearing an EverQuest shirt in my room. Hi, thank you for watching my video though. But while you cannot vote for EverQuest 3 for the most anticipated mmorpg this year, because it actually wasn't nominated this year, you can vote for EverQuest for Legacy MMO, MMO of the Year, and Expansion of the Year. And you can do that right down below in the scuffgameawards.com. Your vote matters a lot because it's 100% fan voted, and I guarantee you the Scuff Game Awards gets a shit ton less votes than the Game Awards. That's not a great marketing ploy, but we also have less commercials. Thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you all back in Norath sometime soon.